Hi, fourth grade. Here's the next installment of What's His Face? Chapter 5 The Ghost in the Machine. Somerset Wolfson made his billions exploring in the Ring of Fire region of the Canadian far north. But his passion had always been Shakespeare. He acted in the plays as a college student and later in life began collecting rare folios of the Beard's work. When he retired, he built a museum so he could share his love of Shakespeare with the world. Cooper, are you keeping up? The teacher's voice snapped Cooper out of a light doze. I'm listening, he blurts out. He almost is, but a sleepless night stressing over the strange encounter on his phone, which may or may not have really happened, has left him exhausted. You're talking about when the wolf moved here and got everybody changed the name to Stratford. The teacher smiled. I know, you're new. But around here, we try not to refer to the man who put our community on the map as the wolf. Cooper feels a spitball ricochet off the back of his neck. Way to disrespect our town, hisses a voice he's pretty sure belonged to Brock. Sorry, Cooper mumbles, his face burning. We all have a chance to tour Mr. Wolfson's collection in a few weeks, the teacher continued. Every year, the 7th graders take a field trip to the museum before the show. It's a pretty moving experience, especially since we'll be just about ready to perform our Romeo and Juliet. Cooper sits up a little straighter and tries to pay attention. In addition to the very earliest editions of Shakespeare's play, dating back centuries, there are displays of clothing, tools, and illustrations from England, the time of Shakespeare. There's a detailed replica of the Globe Theatre, where many of the plays were originally performed. There are even rumors that not all of Mr. Wolfson's collection is on display. Around Stratford, the word is that the billionaire is keeping a secret gallery filled with Shakespearean artifacts no one has ever seen. It's impossible to guess what these objects might be, but everyone assumes they were acquired illegally. Mr. Wolfson is a great man, but he'd stop at nothing to get his hands on an important piece of Shakespearean history. Cooper feels his eyelids starting to droop. Yikes! If he falls asleep again, he'll never be able to bluff through it. And that's when it happened. A distant voice calls, Cooper Vega! Cooper's lolling head snaps to attention. I'm awake. So I see, the teacher tells him mildly, his eyes narrow. Are you all right, Cooper? The voice comes again. Cooper Vega! Cooper pivots in his chair, trying to see who's calling him. Brock? Hayden? Do those guys even know his name? To them, he's What's-His-Face. I see thee, Cooper Vega. Hast thou a place in this darkness? With a sinking heart, Cooper realized that the muffled messages coming from his pocket, where his GX 4000 is vibrating. Oh no, he's back. Who else would use those words, that accent? I have to go to the bathroom. Cooper's up and running for the door even before the teacher gives him the okay. He darts down the hall, bursts into the boys' room, and hides himself in the far stall. Rudy? Rudy, is that you? 'Tis I, comes the gloomy response. But I see thee not. Cooper whips out his phone and presses the home button. The boy from the night before, the hallucination, is center screen. Framed in murky shadows and round shoulders with dejection, his face a picture of suffering. What's the matter? Cooper asks anxiously. The boy raised his limp hand to his brow. I am dead, Cooper Vega. Cooper Vega, I am dead. No, you're not. I'm looking right at you. Roddy shakes his head. I have recalled my final moment, retaken my final breath. You're just a kid, Cooper protests. The plague knows neither age or mercy. Plague? You mean bubonic plague? He almost dropped the phone as if it might be contagious. But if you're dead, Roddy, are you saying you're a ghost? Roddy nods miserably. I, a ghost, a spirit. Cooper is stunned. How can this be happening? There's no such thing as ghosts. And even if there was, how did one get into his GX 4000? Well, at least I know what's wrong with my phone, Cooper says in a shaky voice. It isn't buggy, it's haunted. The phone again. I understand it not. Roddy stretches out his arms. I feel no machine around me. Cooper swallows hard. I hate to tell you this, but you might not have an actual body anymore. A phone's small enough to hold in your hand. It's for talking to people far away. To ghosts? Alive people mostly, Cooper replies. There are no ghosts. I mean, there weren't, before you. Roddy is distraught. I'm the only one? Probably, Cooper tells him. Maybe. You can't go by me. I don't believe in ghosts. At least I didn't. How can that be? Thou art far in the future. All others of my time are surely as dead as I am, and those from the ages before me, and the ages after me. And I, the only ghost? Cooper shrugs. I can't explain it either. Just lucky, I guess. Lucky? Roddy echoes. The word is strange to him. Oh, I am fortune's fool, trapped and alone in this ether, surrounded by the blackest night, my only window, the occasional glimpse of thee. Fortune's fuel? Cooper remembers the line from Romeo and Juliet for a second, then moves on. He has bigger things to worry about than the play. What about me, he complains. No tech support's ever going to believe me when I tell them my phone has a ghost in it. They'll say I'm crazy and I should download the latest software update. That does sound painful, Roddy sympathizes. It's not painful, it's just a pain. I know you've got problems too, Roddy, but I need my phone. The thing won't even take pictures without these weird cloudy shapes. Cooper frowned at the memory of the photographers the photographs he tried to take. Everyone was spoiled by the same silvery, that almost human form. Roddy, hold on. Let me try something. He opens up the camera function, points the GX 4000 at the white tiled wall and snaps the picture. How now? Roddy exclaimed in surprise. A split second later, a rush of glistening mist pours out of the camera. Cooper has seen it before, but this time he's expecting it. He knows exactly what to look for. He watches in amazement as the figure forms. Arms, leg, face. Roddy? He asked tensely. Is that you? The translucent presence seemed to be saying something, but no sound came out. It hovers in the bathroom stall, the mouth moving urgently, straining to communicate. Then the shimmering figure is sucked back into the phone as if by a vacuum cleaner. A few remaining particles hung in the air, winking out like the sparks from a sky rocket. Cooper taps the screen frantically. Roddy, are you there? Oh, Cooper Vega, that was glorious, Roddy breathed. I was in the light, ever so briefly. I saw you. You came out of the phone when I snapped a picture. 'Twas beautiful, Roddy said in a hushed tone. Thy world is a wondrous place, shiny white and adorned with divine sculptures. Uh, Roddy, I hate to burst your bubble, but I think you're talking about a toilet. You know, like a chamber pot? Really? If a ghost could blush, Roddy does. Thou must show me more. Thy castles, theaters, cathedrals. We don't have that in middle school, Cooper informs him. But there's a great Gatorade machine in the cafeteria. I know not what that is, yet I long to behold it. A sharp rap at the stall door through the bathroom. Cooper, is that you? Asked the teacher. Roddy drops his voice. Is that the watch? Cooper puts a finger on his lips and whispers, My teacher. Out loud he replied, I'm coming. Is someone in there with you? What's going on? No, I'm alone. Cooper pops the lock and steps out. Too late, he realizes his mistake. His GX 4000 is still in his hand. Roddy's image is gone, replaced by the usual home screen. The teacher frowned. So I did hear you talking to someone. You know the rules. No cell phone use in the building during school hours. If it happens again, I'll have to confiscate it. Knave, comes the voice, definitely not Cooper. He and his teacher stare at each other for an uncomfortable moment. Did you say something? The teacher asks in an odd tone. Not me. As he walks back to class beside his teacher, Cooper can't shake the feeling that he's carrying a time bomb in his pocket. No worse, a ghost. What is he supposed to do now? Chapter 6, The Insult App. Good morning, Coop. Put your phone away and grab some cereal. You have to eat quickly if you're going to get to school on time. Okay, Mom. Cooper pours himself a bowl of frosted mini-wheats and milk using his free hand. His other is clamped firmly on his GX 4000. You'd be a lot more efficient without the phone, Mrs. Vega tells him. Veronica rolls her eyes. Get a clue, Mom. He's listening to music. Can't you see he's wearing one of his wireless earbuds? He probably can't even hear you. I can hear. Cooper defends himself, and I'm not listening to music. Then why the headphones? His sister challenges him. I don't want to forget them, so I can listen to music on my way to school. Miss Vega smiles. Well, I'm glad to hear you're getting the hang of your new phone. Thank goodness for that. And I'm definitely getting the hang of it, Cooper assures her. No kidding. Veronica is sarcastic. He was up babbling on at half the night. Who knew that a friendless loser would have so many people to talk to? Veronica, be nice, their mother says. He's snowing you, and you're totally letting him get away with it, Veronica complains. Of course he's got music on. You can hear the buzz coming from his earbud. She's half right. There is a sound coming from the tiny earbud, but it's not music. It's the clipped English accent of Roderick Northup. As Cooper pretends to fiddle with his phone while he eats, he pans the camera lens all around the house, giving the ghost his first look at the 21st century. Thy dwelling is magnificent. Verily, thou must be wealthy beyond even the queen. Shh. Yet where are the servants? And if this be the kitchen, where is the hearth? How dost thou cook food without fire? The idea of explaining to a guy from 1596 how a microwave oven works caused Cooper to choke on his frosted mini-wheats. Veronica laughed in his face. Swallow much? Or just read about it? A car horn sounds outside. Gotta go. Chad's here to pick me up. I'll be late today. Volleyball practice. Ask Chad if he'd mind swinging by the middle school to drop Cooper off. I'm okay. I'll walk. Cooper puts in hastily. He likes Chad about as much as he likes Brock, which is not very much at all. And anyway, if he walks, he might run into Jolie on the way. There's no time, his mother insists. I don't want you to be late. When Chad's fire engine red Mustang pulls up to the curb, Roddy exclaims, Forsooth, it's a miracle. Where are the horses for that carriage? Shh, Cooper hisses. Veronica glares at him in the back seat. Can't you be normal for one 3-minute car ride? Chad chimes in. I asked my kid brother about you. He says he doesn't even know who you are. Tell him I'm WhatsHisFace, Cooper supplies. That'll ring a bell. As they drive, Cooper holds up his phone, giving Roddy a view of Stratford. There are cars and other vehicles, houses, stores, neon signs, and traffic light. Surely not even heaven itself can be so rich and beautiful, is the young ghost's opinion. Chad comes to a halt along the school's driveway. This is your stop. Cooper gets out of the Mustang just as a school bus roars up behind them and the students begin to get off. Roddy draws in a sharp breath. The Golden Hind must have looked like this. Like a school bus? Cooper asked. School bus, Roddy repeated, trying the word on for size. 'Tis a worthy name for such a grand vehicle of a color so pleasing to the eye. Everything about Stratford Middle School is impressive to Roddy. The 3-story entrance, only the palace itself could be more grand. The sight of hundreds of kids swarming in all directions. Surely there are not so many children in all of London. Even the video sign out front thrills the ghost to his core. And this, the palace gates. By what sorcery do these messages change by themselves? You better get used to it, Roddy. Cooper mumbles into his GX4000. Everything runs on electronics in 2018. Book fair today, Roddy reads. Did you see that, Cooper Vega? There's going to be a fair. Perchance, will there be jousting? Not unless the PTA moms get all worked up, Cooper tells him. It's a book fair. You know, kids buying books. The ghost is astonished. Are these children all of the royal blood that they have the means to own such costly goods? What's so costly about books? In my world, books are out of reach for all but the wealthy. The paper is nearly the value of silver. In my apprenticeship with Mannering and Brown, our books took months to print, and our clients were of nobility. It's kind of different now, Cooper tries to explain. Books are pretty cheap. Most kids have shelves of them at home. Pep Rally, October 14th. Roddy continues his reading as the sign changes. What is this pep, and why must we rally to it? Cooper soon realizes that it's impossible to answer all of Roddy's eager questions. To be plucked out of 1596 and dropped into the modern world is far more than the mind can absorb. When Cooper gets a drink from the fountain, Roddy asked, Whence springeth this refreshment? When Cooper opens his locker, Seal me not in the coffin. Though I be dead, I have no wish to be buried. When the PA system comes on with the morning announcements, Hush, Cooper Vega, I hear the voice of God. Mayhaps he will explain why I have come to live inside thy phone. It's not God, it's the principle, Cooper whispers. I don't think God cares whether or not it's pizza day in the cafeteria. Listen, I have to go to class now, so I'm putting the phone in my pocket. You'll hear what's going on, but you won't be able to see anything. And this is important. I can't talk to you or I'll get in trouble. If the teacher finds out I've got my phone on, he'll confiscate it, and then where will we be? In the clutches of thine enemy, Roddy concludes. He's not exactly my enemy, but he isn't the friendliest guy in the world either, Cooper tells him. And if anybody turns on the screen and sees you, we both have a lot of explaining to do. Especially me, Cooper thinks. He's still not certain why he didn't tell his parents about the ghost in his phone. He definitely worried that everyone will think he's lost his mind. He half believes that it might be true, that he's hallucinating the whole thing. Or maybe Roddy is nothing more than a malicious virus set loose by some hacker, and Cooper alone is stupid enough to fall for it. But Roddy doesn't feel like a virus or a program created to dupe people. Cooper has played a lot of games and apps, and he's never seen an online character as real as Roddy. His accent, his language from bygone era, his anguish at what's happened to him, his wonderment with the modern world, it totally rings true. No one could fake all that. For sure, no phone app could. But Roddy doesn't feel like a virus. Which means Roddy is a person. Okay, a dead person, but he's very much alive on the GX4000. He gets happy, sad, scared, thrilled, and disappointed, just like people who are still alive. There's no way to know why he ended up on Cooper's phone out of all the phones in the world. Maybe it was totally random. But mine is the phone he's on, which means I am the only one who can help him. If I tell anyone about him, the GX4000 might wind up in a lab somewhere being poked and prodded under a microscope by scientists. And Roddy with it. I can't let that happen. I have to keep his secret. He takes his seat in the classroom and opens his math book as the other 7th graders shuffle in. He noticed that Jolie's t-shirt, Niagara Falls Tubing Club, has long sleeves. That means the cast on her wrist must be off. He waves to her, but before he can catch her attention, a big body swings into his vision, blocking her and most of the room. Brock slides into the empty desk beside her. Catching Cooper's half gesture, he growls, "What are you looking at, kid?" "Nothing," Cooper mumbles, focusing on the teacher's desk. The teacher begins the day by going over the previous night's homework. Then he leads the class through a sheet of math problems. Cooper becomes aware of a strange noise coming from his earbud. A snort at the end of a long sound, repeated over and over again. It hits him. Snoring. And it can only be coming from one source. I never knew ghosts could snore. "Roddy," he whispers, hoping his low voice will reach the built-in microphone on the earbud. "Roddy, wake up." A long yawn comes from the earpiece. "Egad," Roddy proclaims, "math lessons are just as dreary in thy century as in mine." Shh. "Check out WhatsHisFace," Brock announces. "He's got a slow leak." A chuckle buzzes around the room. Who is the knave who speaketh to Cooper Vega with such a poisoned tongue? Roddy wonders. Cooper doesn't know whether to laugh or cry. You can block the ghost's ability to see, but it won't stop him from having opinions on just about everything. "All right, Cooper," the teacher says. "Keep it down. You too, Brock. This is a math class, not a public square." Roddy turns suddenly melancholy. A public square? 'Tis an unhappy memory. The death carts gathered in the public square. I beheld so many carried away, neighbors, friends, my own mother. Without doubt, this was my final journey too. In the hall during class, Cooper takes his phone out of his pocket and waits for Roddy to appear on the screen. Listen, I'm sorry about the death cart and all that, but you've got to keep your mouth shut while I'm in class, or I'm going to get detention. The curlish boy who torments thee must be taught a lesson in manners, Roddy argues. Let me worry about Brock, Cooper shoots back. You worry about the shutting up part, because if you can't manage it, I'm going to have to leave my phone at home, and you with it. Prayeth, Cooper Vega, I shall be a mouse. But in health class, when Cooper was asked to name typical allergy symptoms, Roddy began to rattle off the symptoms of the plague. Sneezing, Cooper begins, a runny nose, congestion. Meanwhile, in his ear, Roddy is making his own list. Desperately, Cooper tries to tune his ghost out, but it's no use. Watery eyes, rotting flesh, sinus pain, death throes. The health teacher stares at him. Hold on, Cooper. It's only hay fever. Are you going to read the chapter I assigned? By this time, the entire class is laughing. Everybody stay away from What's-His-Face, Brock hoots. You don't want to catch oozing eruptions. Red-faced and humiliated, Cooper notices that Jolie is laughing along with everybody else. That's the part that really hurts. At that moment, if Roddy had a real body with a real neck, Cooper would have wrung it. I'm desolate, Roddy apologizes on the way to gym. I accept thy rage with a heavy heart. If I understood that, I'd tell you to stuff it, Cooper resorted. Now listen, you can't come to phys ed because the phone won't fit in my shorts. You're going in the gym locker. It's not a coffin, so don't get all bent out of shape over it. I am a spirit, and am without shape. I understand not thy words. Perfect, Cooper explained. You've got a 48-minute gym period to think it over. He throws open the locker room door and strides inside. Take cover. It's the guy with hay fever, comes Brock's voice. More laughter rings out as Cooper disappears inside a blizzard of sweat socks. The only thing worse than being the butt of a joke is being the butt of the same joke twice. Roddy is outraged. Thou must speak up for thine honor, Cooper Vega. No, thou must do what you promised, and zip it. Flushed as much by annoyance at Roddy as he was with embarrassment, he kicks off his shoes, steps out of his jeans, and pulls on his gym shorts. When he pops out the earbud, drawing it through his long hair, Brock exclaims, Hey, What's-His-Face has that new GX. Before Cooper could slam the locker shut, the soccer star reaches in and plucks the phone out of his pants pocket. Cooper reaches up to grab it from him, but the taller Brock holds it just out of his space. What do you think he's got on his home screen? Aiden pipes up. Maybe some of those oozing eruptions. Give it back. Cooper leaps up for the GX 4000 but comes up a little short. One way to find out. Brock decides with a cruel laugh. He presses the button and Roddy's image appears. Whoa, it's some dude. Cooper can only look on in horror. Unhand me, thou rump-fed plague sore. Roddy's accent rings out in a scornful tone. Thy rank smell offendeth my nostrils. I would spit on thee, wert thou clean enough. Dead silence falls in the locker room. Even Brock, who ordinarily has an answer for everything, is struck dumb. Cooper seizes the opportunity to snatch the phone out of Brock's limp hand. Don't you guys know anything about the 16th century insult app? You've got to get it. Here, I'll use it on myself. He holds the GX4000 up to his face, willing Roddy to understand. Insult me. Why shouldeth I believe thus, Cooper Vager? Thou art a prince. Wouldn't you know it, Cooper complains. The server must be down. The door to the gym opened, and the coach barks, "What's the holdup in there? These ropes aren't going to climb themselves." In the babble of voices as the boys file out of the locker room, Cooper distinctly hears someone say, "Who's Cooper Vega?" Cooper waits at the door to swing shut behind them before turning back to the screen. "Roddy, what did you say to him?" Roddy looks pleased with himself. "I spat no more than the truth, that he is a yeasty, fen-sucking canker blossom." "Thee should speak for thyself, Cooper Vega, as it is obvious to any fool or beast." "Yes, well, it was awesome. I've never seen the big idiot at a loss for words before." Roddy nods wisely. "Thy century is an astonishing place, filled with miracles beyond my wildest imagination. But thy schoolmates are a band of jack-jawed ninny-hammers, fit only for the employ of a chimney sweeper." "Vega!" yells the coach from the gym. "What are you doing in there? Baking cookies? Get a move on it." As Cooper shuts the GX4000 in his locker and jogs out onto the hardwood, he reflects that for weeks he hasn't had a prayer of standing up to the 7th graders of Stratford. And along comes this boy who died 400 years ago, who puts the dreaded Brock Baumgartner in his place with a few barely understandable words. And we will have more next week.